Hello and namaskar viewers, I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to the Tax Talk with AJ. Yes, you must be surprised what happened from the Business Talk with Tax Talk because now we are in the tax season. So this is the perfect time to get you all the latest and the greatest information that you need to know about taxes. So that's why it's called the Tax Talk with AJ. Every week we'll bring you all the latest that you need to know about tax, personal taxes, corporate taxes, and so that way when you go to file your tax return, you will know exactly what needs to be done. And talking about filing your tax return, listen, Sai CPA Services can really help you out. Give them a call. Try them out over the phone consultation, by Zoom or in person. It's all possible. Give them a call at 908-380-6876. That's a 908-380-6876, or visit their website saicpaservices.com. Remember, no question is a small question when it comes to taxes, for your personal taxes, or even if you have a business, small business to mid-sized business to even a large business. It's worth taking an advice from the expert and knowledgeable CPAs on hand in staff at Sai CPA Services. With that note, I'd like to welcome CPA and MBA with Sai CPA Services, Mr. Ajay Kumar, to the show. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Absolutely, Sanjay. Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Sure. Of course, people should know about taxes. I always say that every year there are people who are not sure whom to go for tax advice.
True.
And, and then many times they end up in the wrong hands. So it's better to let them know and listen, viewers got nothing to lose. All they need to do is just make one phone call and set up an appointment and ask all the questions. And I'm sure that they will feel very, very satisfied with Sai CPA Services. So it's worth to mention. Anyway, so tax season is upon us. Last week, when we were wrapping up our show, we said that this week we're going to talk about FBAR. FBAR is a major issue affecting South Asians, Indians, especially living in the USA, because many of them have their properties, their ancestors' properties, families' properties, or even their owned properties as well. And what to do with those properties, how to really keep track of bank statements in India and how to report it in the USA.
You're right.
That's where, AJ, we need your advice.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. But before we go to FBAR, Sanjeevji, as you know, our intent behind the show was always bringing the news that you can use. On public demand, we have been getting a lot of questions in these days only around taxes. So just temporarily for next couple of months, we'll be talking more about taxes. We'll be bringing the news to you as well, but the focus will be more around taxes because tax is the need of the hour. This is what you need to know. So as far as FBAR, foreign bank account reporting is concerned, it's all about reporting the foreign accounts. If you have any account that you had prior to coming over here in US, a lot of people, especially the Indians, they had an account in India. Before they came over here, they were working in India. Some of them have accounts with the parents because parents are old, so they have a combined account. So they still have access to that account. So FBAR is all about reporting the foreign accounts. Sanjeevji, the rule is if you have more than $10,000 in all your accounts combined together, you have the filing obligation. Say right now the US dollar rate is around 82 rupees. So in Indian rupees, if you have, let's say 8 lakh, 82 rupees multiplied by $10,000, if you have over 8 lakh rupee, then you have the filing obligation. You need to report all the accounts, not the account where you have highest money. If you have the filing obligation, meaning all the accounts combined together, if you have more than 8 lakh rupees or 10,000 US dollars, you have the filing obligation, and then you need to report all these accounts along with your tax return. The best part, Sanjeevji, it does not cost you anything. There is no additional tax obligation. It's just the reporting requirement, and it allows you to bring that money legally back in this country. If you're
because you are saying that you have X amount of money in your bank statement in India, and once you report it here, legally you can have that money transferred to your account, no questions asked.
No question asked. If you ever need that money and you are not reporting it, then how would you bring it? Then we'll try to tax it. Then we'll say you brought this money through some sort of income. because you never reported it. If it was your money, then why did you not report it earlier?
All right. So my question to you, because FBAR is a very broad subject,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Foreign bank accounting, reporting. So my question to you is that you mentioned if you have any property bank statement in India, but if someone came from another country, for example, UK or Australia or New Zealand, if they migrated to this country from those countries, how does it work?
It works more or less the same,
Same way. Okay.
So there are about 86 countries out of 207 countries that US has tax treaty with. India is one of them. So for all the country where we have the tax treaty, the treatment is same. We are only talking about India in this example because we are Indians and our viewership is Indian. But for all the other 86 countries where US has the tax treaty, tax relationship, the principles are more or less same.
Okay.
The other countries where we don't have the tax treaty, it gets complicated and we have to look at country by country.
Okay. Now, if someone sells the property, you said that bank statements, the balance above 8 lakh rupees must be just mentioned here in a US tax return. But if someone sells the property, let's say for 1 crore, right? 1 crore is what, $120,000, $125,000. What happens at that time and if they want to bring the money here?
Great question. So if you have a property or if you inherited the property, God forbid the parents passed away, now you did not own the property up until yesterday, but now suddenly you own the property technically, then what obligations you have, what filing obligations you have, and you want to bring that money back legally in this country. But you have never reported it. You did not need to because you did not own the property. Now, there is another filing, we call it FATCA filing, where you have Form 8938 that you need to file for all the non-liquid assets. If you have more than $100,000, give or take 80 lakh rupees, Sanjeev ji, more than 100,000 US dollar worth of non-liquid asset under your name, you need to report that asset. The good thing is if you report this asset tomorrow, if you sell this asset, then you can bring this money back legally in this country. Let's say in this example, if someone's parents passed away, now you suddenly inherited the property. Now the property is under your name legally, then suddenly you have the filing obligation. So for this year when you file the taxes, you will report along with FBAR if you have liquid asset. Liquid asset includes the bank accounts, the certificate of deposit. All those accounts are included in the FBAR, and the form that you will be filing under FBAR is referred as FinCEN 114. FINCEN, FinCEN 114 is for the bank account. That's why the reporting is called Foreign Bank Account Reporting or FBAR filing. Again, the form is FinCEN 114 for the non-liquid asset, for the property, Sanjeev ji. The form, we call it FATCA, FATCA filing, and the form that you will be filing is 8938 if you have non-liquid asset. In total, combined together, worth $100,000 or more.
Okay. Now, if someone, let's say mistakenly and not knowing the facts of FBAR, did not report anything, and a situation comes in where they sold the property and they have money in the bank account and they never reported, what happens then?
Well, then we don't really know how they acquired that property.
Okay.
Meaning, if they should have reported, if they did not report, we'll ask them, at least our advice is to report it going back for 3 years at least. Create a trailing document trails over there. Create some sort of paper trails around it, meaning I reported in 19, I reported in 20, I reported in 20.
So you file your amended tax return?
You file an additional filing.
Okay.
You don't really, just because FBAR and FATCA does not affect your taxes, there is no additional tax liability.
Okay.
You don't need to amend something that you already filed. It's more of an additional filing that you do with FBAR and FATCA. But in theory, if you have, let's say, a rental property in India, you are earning the income. Now you sold the property. You want to bring this money back, but you never reported. Then that rental income should have been reported.
Yes.
You should have paid some taxes on that rental income.
Yeah.
Then in that case, you have to amend. And we recommend go back at least 3 years to create the proper paper trail. So when you're bringing the money, you have a history around it. I reported in 19, I reported in 20, I reported in 21, Mr. IRS. Now, if I'm bringing the money back in 2022, why are you giving me a hard time?
Okay, and the last question before we go into the break very quickly. If they have 8 lakh or more than 8 lakh rupees, they need to report it. If they sell the property, let's say for $100,000, they want to bring the money here, will they have to pay tax on $100,000?
Not necessarily.
Okay. All right.
We can take an example after the break as what happens, how they acquired the property or if they inherited the property, and we can walk you through the capital gain taxability
Very good.
after the.
That would be very interesting a discussion that we'll have right after this messages. You're watching the Tax Talk with AJ on ITV Gold. Stay with us. Welcome back to the second half of this week's The Tax Talk with AJ. This is a show where I said earlier that we're going to have all the latest that you need to know regarding taxes. We're also going to have an email ID next week, so that way you can send in your questions. In case if you have any questions, you can definitely send in question and we'll discuss it in our show. AJ will advise you. AJ is CPA MBA with over 30 years of experience, and Sai CPA Services is a full-fledged accounting firm with multiple locations right here in the state of New Jersey. As I always say, for your personal taxes or corporate taxes or bookkeeping services or payroll services, or even need an advice where to invest money in order to save on taxes and also to do your taxes right and to get the refund that you're entitled of. That means take all the deduction that you're entitled of. Sai CPA Services, they believe in doing taxes right. They guide and advise their clients by the books, and that's why they are one of the most favorite accounting firm right here in the nation, located in New Jersey. You can contact them at 908-380-6876 or saicpaservices.com. Today we are discussing about FBAR. In the first half, AJ really gave us a lot of information on FBAR, foreign bank accounting reporting. If you have a property, what exactly needs to be done and how it needs to be reported. So we talked about if you have more than 8 lakh rupees related to that, property or bank statement in India, report it. If you sell the property, obviously you want to bring money in here. Now what happens when you bring money in here?
So when we were discussing before the break, if you sell the property, then do you have to pay tax on the money that you're bringing in US? So we have to see how you acquired the property in the first place. Let's say if you bought the property by sending money from US to India, then you know how much money you sent to India. Then we know how much you bought the property for. Then we can, and if you, let's say, bought the property for $100,000, you sold it for $200,000, then we'll also have to see what was the dollar rate at the time of buying it and what's the dollar rate now. So it's not as straightforward, okay, now I have to pay tax on $100,000. The dollar rate at that time was much lower than dollar rate over here. So it reduces your tax liability substantially. So having somebody do your taxes who know what they are doing when it comes to these foreign transactions is very important. You can save thousands of dollars. On the other hand, you can lose thousands of dollars by not doing it right. The funny part, Sanjeev ji, if you pay IRS more than what you're supposed to pay, IRS does not come back to you to say, hey, Mr. Kumar, you paid more money to us.
It just rolls over.
It does not.
It does not.
They will just keep it. No question asked. If you pay less than what you're supposed to pay, they will send you the notice. You owe us this much money. How dare you not pay?
How? So when overpayment is not refunded to you in this matter?
No, in this case, or in any case, let's say if your gain was supposed to be, based on the dollar exchange rate, was supposed to be 70,000, and you are reporting yourself on your tax return, my gain is $100,000, and you pay more taxes on $30,000. There is no system, because the system is assuming you must be telling the truth. If you say your gain is 100,000, it must be 100,000. Who am I to dispute? If you say 100,000 of gain, why would I say no, it's not 70,000?
That's why you need right accountant,
That's
a
why it's very
knowledgeable
important.
CPA
Absolutely.
to advise you, right? And that's why Sai CPA Service is all about.
So go to an accountant, especially when you have transaction in India. We advise you to go to somebody who understands the Indian taxes. I mean, if you have properties in Poland, go to somebody who understands the Poland market. We do more taxes between US and India than a Polish accountant will do. Similarly, we don't do as many taxes for Poland. We do very few taxes. So having somebody who knows what they're doing in your team is very important. But going back to the example, let's say if you inherited the property, God forbid the parent passed away, you inherited the property, and now you're selling the property. Then how much, you never paid anything for the property, then how much tax you have to pay?
Yep.
In that case, we'll have to look at the date of inheritance. What was the market value at the date of inheritance for you? Let's say if you inherited the property and you sold it within a month, 99% you should not be paying any taxes on this property. Because within a month, how much can the property price fluctuate? You got the property, you sold the property, we'll consider it as all inherited property. You still have the filing obligation. You may have to file 3520 in this example, but you do not pay any taxes in this situation.
All righty, good, interesting to know. All right, anything else left on FBAR?
Absolutely. So a lot of people pays taxes in India, especially in the NRE, NRO account that we typically have. They deduct some taxes, they call it TDS, tax deducted at source. Whatever taxes you are paying in India on your fixed deposit, certificate of deposits, on your rental income, you have the right to claim those taxes on your US tax return. So any taxes that you paid on the foreign income, you have the right to claim. If you are a US green card holder, US resident citizen, you have the right to claim those taxes, and you need to file Form 1116 to claim those taxes in US. If you have the mutual funds in India, you may have 8621 filing obligation. So there are a lot of forms. A lot of these forms are only for information filing. Some forms are to claim the right taxes. Say for example, as we were discussing earlier, if you miss 1116 filing, IRS will not come back to you, hey, you paid some taxes in India, you did not claim it from us, you could have claimed it. There is no such system. If you pay more taxes to the US government, we will not come back to you and ask you, hey, you paid more taxes, here is your money back.
That is interesting.
So
that means during the year when your taxes are deducted and then you get W-2, right? And if you overpaid during the year, you get refund.
Absolutely.
Based upon
Absolutely.
that. But in this case,
since it's a foreign country,
yeah,
we don't have the direct insight. The IRS software, the IRS system does not have the direct insight on what was paid in there. Unless you claim it, we will not give it to you.
Okay.
When you have the W-2, when you have the local taxes withheld, the company is reporting to us, to the IRS, as what taxes were withheld. The company is paying the taxes on your behalf.
Okay, and when you find out that you have overpaid, let's say you find out through your accountant's error or something like that, can you file an amended tax return and claim a refund?
For 3 years. You have the right to claim the refund by filing an amendment within 3 years. After 3 years, you lose the right to file an amendment to claim the refund. You can file the amendment to pay more taxes. Let's say, for example, you forgot to include some income, and now you want to get straight, and you want to file an amendment to pay more taxes to the government. They will take the money, they will let you file the amendment if you are paying to the government anytime. There's no such limitation.
Yep.
But if you are filing an amendment to claim the refund, then you have a statute of limitation for 3 years.
Okay. All right, so it's 3 years. Okay, interesting to know. And FBAR is a one subject, and like I said, viewers, any question you have regarding any subject affecting your taxes, please do contact Sai CPA Services. They will advise you and guide you in the right direction. All right, so you're watching the Tax Talk with AJ, but in this show we always talk about some business stories as well. And here's one important story that this story has surfaced this week, and it has gotten very, very warm response.
Absolutely.
From US President Joe Biden, from British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and the French President Macron. Everyone has applauded this deal, and they have said that, you know, that India is really living up to its expectation. Even President Joe Biden here in US said that this deal would create 1 million jobs in 44 states.
Wow.
I am talking about Air India placing a huge order for Airbus. That order goes to France, and for the Boeing, Boeing planes. And this is the all in all, it could end up to $80 billion deal.
It's one of the largest commercial deals that Air India has ever done. So if you recall, Air India was a government airline, It was given to Tata and Sons beginning of this year, and now they are trying to overhaul the whole airline. We
Yep.
all know the Air India planes are old. The movie never works. We have all been there.
It's not exactly that reason, but no, that may be partly reason. Let's not take
Yes.
away from Air India
So
carriers.
now-
But I think Tata here wants to prove, wants to make sure that they are going to be the global
Absolutely.
carrier. When
Absolutely.
it comes to service, their service is going to be topmost service. And also, Ajayji, the another thing that people should know is that India, the government of India, plans to build 100 more airports in the city.
Wow.
So that means demand for the passengers who wants to fly from one location to another location has been so high. It's not
Absolutely.
only Air India. Indigo also placed a big order. Also, some time ago, the demand is so high where I guess people
This is
first
being-
they can afford to fly and they're willing to fly.
Well, it's not just affordability will go there.
Yes.
Because it's getting cheaper and cheaper to fly. It's going to be
I wouldn't say
as-
cheaper, but economical.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
more
it's
economical
it's
to fly.
economical, yes.
So in the future, in the near time, people will be flying more than people are going through the train and the buses. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very, very common over here.
So
in
this
US.
is, so Air India has ordered 470 planes in this order.
470.
Out of that, 250 for the Airbus that goes
Mm-hmm.
to France, and 220 for Boeing in the USA. And Britain is going to build engines for those
Absolutely.
planes. So all three countries are, I'm telling you, that they're uploading this. This is a very, very ambitious order coming from India and Tata Group. When it's a Tata Group, see, government of India, when they sold Air India to Tata Group last year, I think it was in January 2022, right? Obviously, it was a wise move. They had been trying to do that for many years because government of India perhaps would not have spent this kind of money to buy that many aircraft.
There are a lot of red
At
tapes in
once,
the government.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So when you sometimes, when you sell this to the companies, when you privatize this kind of industries, and,
Absolutely.
it really helps a lot. So I like Joe Biden's statement when he says this will support more than 1 million American jobs in
Absolutely.
44 states.
Yep, almost every single state.
All right. So that's a story, a big story, and the other big story is in case if you are a Tesla owner and you are looking into the self-driving thing, or maybe perhaps you want to get Tesla and then look into the self-driving thing. Well, think again. I mean, it happens, but Tesla stock fell after they announced they're recalling 362,000 vehicles for full self-driving flaws.
And just to make sure everybody understands, it's not general Tesla, it's
Yes.
just a self-driving.
Yes.
Tesla has a lot of electric vehicles. What we're talking
They need
about,
to update the software.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about is just the fully self-driving vehicles where they are updating the software. The problem is limited to one type of model or one type of vehicles. It's not in general.
Okay.
So you can still buy the.
There you go. And last question I have for you, Ajay. Would you be interested in self-driving vehicle?
Not yet. I'll give it some more time, sir.
All right, that is very conservative and is very, very thoughtful.
I'm an accountant.
Exactly. All right. With that note, we come to an end of the Tax Talk with AJ this week, right here on ITV Gold. AJ, once again, thank you so very much for your
Thank
time.
you. I
Thank you
appreciate
for your advice. Thank you for your guidance. Remember, Sai CPA Services. Note down the phone number 908-380-6876 or SaiCPAServices.com. I am Sanjeev Pandya, wishing you all happy and tax-free days ahead. So long.
Thank you.